everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'm really excited because we're talking about something I'm super passionate about, super nostalgic about, and I know a lot of you watching this, obviously you clicked on the video, right? A lot of you will probably feel the same way, and I know a lot of my friends and people that I'm close to over the years also feel the same way. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the first game, of course the entire franchise as a whole, right? But we'll start kind of with that first game. I've got the soundtrack up the side here, just as a little bit of a reminder, but that tune that I played on the intro, you probably recognize it if you clicked on this video and if you remember playing this game. If you did play this game, I mean, how can you not remember that song, right? That song really changed everything. This game really changed everything, not only for skateboarding and skating culture in general. I used to skateboard when I was a teenager, still occasionally do for a little bit of fun, but not as much as I used to. But like that entire generation of the late 90s into the 2000s, which is the era that I grew up in specifically, was really impacted, whether it was the music side of the Tony Hawk's franchise and games, especially the inception of this first game, or it was the skateboarding side. Of course, this is a music channel. I play guitar, I teach guitar for a living. We're going to be talking about the music specifically and how that has impacted everything in so many ways in that time period that I just mentioned. But yeah, just worth noting, it absolutely 100% also did impact an entire generation of skating and skateboarders and skateboard culture, and legitimately like re-sparked the industry in so many different ways, which I could get into, which I'm not going to, because again, this is a music video channel. So that song I just played at the beginning, if you don't remember, is Superman by Goldfinger, right? I'm really fortunate that I've seen this band and I've seen this song live as well, and it was the most amazing, happiest moment of my life, I'm being completely honest with you. But that song, to name one, I've got the songs over here. We've also got No Cigar, absolute classic. Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, absolute classic. When Worlds Collide, Heavy Metal Winner, Gorilla Radio, Pin the Tail on the Donkey, Willified, When Worlds Collide, I just said, Duck Eat Dog World. So there wasn't many songs in the first game, obviously we're talking about editing. Carl here, I'm doing what all those other YouTubers do, where they chuck a little video in when they're editing because they noticed something that was wrong and I didn't have time to reshoot it. So some of the songs that I name dropped in this video right here are a mixed match, it seems to be, from when I was Google searching. I didn't know all the songs to hand. So when I was Google searching, some of the songs are from some other games and things like that. So don't fact check me. I know, it's cool. I put the actual soundtrack up on the screen right now, and we'll get back into the video. But yeah, I did miss off Police Truck, Dead Kennedys, and Psycho Vision and songs like that. Awesome songs. But yeah, back to the video. Oh, Blood Brothers as well. We're talking about PS1, right? So obviously there was only ever like, what, probably one album's worth of songs on those early games in the late 90s, early 2000s, probably like 10, 11, 12, something like that, versus some of the later entries in the franchise and later games in general, where it's like 50 plus, if not way more songs. I don't know, I haven't ever really counted them. Maybe it's 100, I don't know. But I think there's something to be said, first of all, for the condensed kind of soundtrack of this game and these games, particularly in the early 2000s, because it really, if you were sat playing a Tony Hawk's game for hours on end, right, which I definitely did, and I know, again, if you're watching this video, you probably did as well. I know the level is like the back of my hand at this point, but if you were sat there playing these games for hours, you're going to be hearing the same 10, 11, 12 songs, whatever it is, over and over again. That impacts you, whether you realize it or not, especially if you're a kid, especially if you were like, I don't know, like 10, 11, 12 years old at the time. I was a little bit younger. It still impacted me. I grew up in a background of music, so that's probably why it clicked with me so soon. But if you were kind of growing up as a kid into your teenage years, which these games continued in my teenage years either way, hearing this music was really impactful. And what I think Tony Hawk's games did in general really well was mix genres so well as well. So they had like some of the heavy metal stuff, the hardcore punk stuff, the skate punk stuff, but they also had like the hip hop and R&B side of things as well. Maybe not so much on these early games here, like the soundtrack I'm just talking about here from the first game, but definitely in kind of the second, third, fourth game, stuff like that. Those other aspects of music started coming into play. And that tied into the fact that in the early 2000s you had the nu metal movement and all of these types of things as well. I feel like it was just the perfect storm of these clashings of genres, these mixing of genres, the new metal, the punk, the skate punk, the pop punk. All of these genres were huge at the time. All these genres were blowing up at the time. That's why I keep talking about it and coming back to them. And it's still huge to this day. They've kind of made a comeback, obviously, as well, which is really, really cool to hear and really, really cool to see. But I feel like these games were just a perfect storm of, like, released at the right time, at the right moment. You had the face of Tony Hawk on there, which at the time actually wasn't really a celebrity or a famous person. I feel like people probably don't realise that. I just forget that in general. The games are essentially what kind of crossed Tony Hawk over into being a celebrity. Before that, he was a professional skateboarder, yeah, but like he's one of those skateboarders where if you're in the skate culture or you skateboard, you're probably going to know who he is and what his name is and what he looks like. Outside of that, maybe not so much. Whereas in general, right, Tony Hawk's music, skateboarding, and actual pop culture in general, I feel like hugely, massively impacted my generation of people. Maybe some people a little bit after me. Definitely people before me as well, that's for sure. I'm 30-year-old coming up, so it's like that sort of, 20 years ago type vibe. That 20-year nostalgia vibe. But I really believe that my taste in music and my direction in music, and the reason I play guitar to this day and do guitar for a living, yes, massively was to thank to my dad for introducing me to metal and Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and those kind of classic rock metal bands growing up. That made a massive impact on me, seeing him play guitar and all these different bits and bobs. But I think following that, my kind of influences formed from watching Kerrang as a kid, from playing Tony Hawk's as a kid, from seeing these movements of new metal and pop punk and skate punk and so on and so forth exploding and becoming huge. Or, like I said, perfect storm, right moment, right time. They impacted me massively. And I know there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out there that feel the same way, that had the same childhood as me and same kind of exposure to these things as me as well. So, I don't know, what do you think and what do you feel about the Tony Hawk series? It's an incredibly nostalgic series for me. I truly believe they had a huge impact on my generation, people before, some of the people after as well. Did you play the games as a kid? Do you still play the games now? I know they're going to be doing another remaster, which is really exciting. The last one was awesome, absolutely loved it, still got it, still played it. But yeah, I really do believe that Tony Hawk chose the correct bands, the correct kind of condensed down soundtracks, the right blending of genres combined with just the perfect gameplay and the time period and everything. It was just wrapped up in this perfect bundle that just clicked and made sense for so many kids like me. And it's just an incredibly special place in my heart now, all of these games. So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think and what you feel in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video, and peace.